Right, let's be honest. Most hidden gem travel guides are about as secret as a Greggs sausage roll at a train station. You go to Castle Combe for a quiet photo and end up in a shoulder-to-shoulder wrestling match with 3 tour buses and a tripod. It's not exactly the pastoral dream, is it? According to the Office for National Statistics, domestic tourism in the UK has seen a 14% surge in people seeking rural escapism. Yet we're all crowding into the same 3 spots in the Cotswolds. Today, we're doing better. We are venturing into the villages where the pub floorboards are older than the United States, and the only traffic jam is a stubborn flock of sheep. Before we dive into the greenery, do me a massive favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. It helps the channel more than a pint of local cider helps a Sunday hangover. Done it? Brilliant. Let's get lost. Blanchland, Northumberland. We're starting way up north. Blanchland looks like it was designed by a movie scout told to find the most English village possible. Built from the ruins of a 12th century abbey, the stone has a deep, honey gold hue that makes you feel like you're walking through a toasted crumpet. It is incredibly tiny. With a population of around 100, you truly cannot sneeze without someone offering you a tissue and a life story. The heart of the village is the Lord Crewe Arms, which features a crypt bar where monks used to hide their booze during Scottish raids. If you want to move here, be prepared for Northumberland prices, which, while higher than the regional average, are a steal compared to the south. Average detached homes in the county sit around £372,000. Though in a village this preserved, you're usually waiting for a once-in-a-generation listing. The moody local tale about the White Lady of Blanchland who waits by the bridge for her Jacobite lover adds to the Wuthering Heights vibe, making it a perfect spot for those who like their history with a side of mist. Polperro, Cornwall. While everyone else fights for a parking spot in St Ives, Polperro remains tucked into a cliffside cranny so narrow that cars are effectively banned. Residents use motorized carts, which is basically Mario Kart but with more seagulls and scones. The vibe here is pure smuggler's chic, and that charm comes with a premium. Property prices in Polperro average around £348,000, though a detached home with a sea view will easily clear £450,000. If you visit in late June, you'll catch the Polperro Festival, a week of music, dancing, and the crowning of the mock mayor. It's a riotous tradition that dates back centuries. For a quieter moment, head to the Blue Peter Inn. It's the kind of place where the ceiling is so low, you'll leave with a complimentary forehead bruise. But the fish pie is worth the concussion. Lavenham, Suffolk. If you think your house is a bit wonky, wait until you see Lavenham. This was one of the richest towns in Tudor England. But when the wool money ran out, the residents couldn't afford to rebuild. Consequently, the timber-framed houses just sagged. Walking through the streets feels like a medieval earthquake was frozen in time, which is why it served as the inspiration for Godric's Hollow in the Harry Potter films. The real estate market here is as sturdy as the oak beams. While the average Suffolk home is more affordable, a piece of Lavenham history usually demands a hefty premium. The village is famous for its Lavenham Carnival and the massive summer craft and foodie festival held every August, which draws thousands to the glebe field. It is physically impossible to walk through this village while sober and feel like you're on level ground. Cartmel, Cumbria. Tucked just outside the Lake District, Cartmel is the village that decided hiking is fine, but sugar is better. It offers a vibe of sophisticated gluttony and is the spiritual home of sticky toffee pudding. But it's not just about dessert. This village is a property heavyweight with an average house price of £512,000, up 16% just in the last year. The local economy is bolstered by the Cartmel races, a massive event that sees the village population swell as thousands gather for one of the most picturesque horse racing meets in the UK. Interestingly, the 12th century priory survived Henry VIII's Great Divorce and Demolition project, because the villagers successfully argued it was their only place of worship. It remains one of the most successful HR complaints in British history. Chilham, Kent. Known as the Garden of England, Kent has some beauties, but Chilham is the crown jewel. It's a perfect circle of Tudor houses surrounding a square, looking so much like a film set that it usually is one. This picture-perfect status reflects in the prices, with homes averaging £580,000 and detached properties often soaring past £760,000. The social hub is the White Horse, sitting right on the square, where the locals gather for the annual May Day revels. This event is a portal back in time, featuring Morris dancing and traditional stalls that make you forget the 21st century exists. There's even a bit of local bravado regarding the history. Some believe Thomas Becket is actually buried here rather than in Canterbury Cathedral. We haven't seen the receipts, but we love the confidence. Abbotsbury, Dorset. This village looks like it was plucked directly out of a Constable painting. Everything here is thatched. Even the sheds probably have better haircuts than you do. It's famous for its swannery, where you can see hundreds of nesting swans, a tradition maintained since the 1300s. Property here is tightly held, often staying in families for generations, but the village's proximity to the Jurassic coast keeps values high. A major highlight is the trek to St. Catherine's Chapel. Sitting on a hill, this chapel was the medieval version of Tinder. Local girls would trek up to pray to St. Catherine for a husband, specifically one who was handsome, rich, and nice. Dorset has over 1,000 listed buildings, and Abbotsbury feels like it's showing off by owning the best ones. Crowvey, Aberdeenshire. Pronounced Crivy, this is the most on-the-edge village in Britain. It consists of a single line of houses squeezed between a cliff and the North Sea. There is no road. You have to wheelbarrow your groceries down to your front door. It's the ultimate place to disappear, and surprisingly, it's one of the most affordable gems on our list, with an average price around £193,000. However, you're paying for the view with your nerves. The sea ran straight through the houses during the Great Storm of 1953. The villagers refused to leave, basically telling the Atlantic Ocean to jog on. Today, many of these homes are holiday lets, but the community spirit remains as rugged as the coastline. Werbley, Herefordshire. Welcome to the Black and White Village Trail. Werbley is famous for timber-framed houses that look like giant magpies. It functions as a medieval time capsule, but carries a hefty modern price tag, with average homes around £437,000, a massive 21% jump over the previous year. It was once a rotten borough, a tiny village that somehow managed to have 2 members of parliament while massive cities had none. Beyond the politics, the village is a foodie's dream. The Werbley Festival celebrates local produce, specifically the Herefordshire beef, which has won more awards than Meryl Streep. It's the kind of place where you can eat like a king and sleep in a house that's been standing since the 1400s. Lustley, Devon. Deep in Dartmoor, Lustley is often cited as the prettiest village in the park. The vibe is that of an enchanted forest, full of granite boulders and moss-covered walls. This enchantment is reflected in the local market, where house prices average a staggering £908,000. The village's main event is the Lustley Show on August Bank Holiday, a quintessential country fair with everything from sheep shearing to horticultural displays. If you look closely at the church wall, you'll find Datuidoc stone, an inscribed stone from the 6th century. The village takes its traditions seriously, especially the May Day celebrations, which involve a May Queen, and enough Morris dancing to make a teenager die of embarrassment. Snowshill, Gloucestershire. I know what you're thinking. You promised no Cotswolds. But Snowshill is different, because it's tucked in a valley where the tour buses literally cannot fit. It is isolated, eccentric, and incredibly expensive, with an average price of £1.24 million. It's home to Snowshill Manor, where the eccentric Charles Paget Wade collected thousands of objects, from samurai armor to 26 ancient bicycles. If the village looks familiar, it might be because they filmed the snow scenes for Bridget Jones's Diary here in the middle of summer. They covered the entire village in fake white fluff, and the locals are reportedly still finding bits of it in their hedges 20 years later. It's the ultimate hidden Cotswold retreat for those who can afford the quiet. So, there you have it. 10 villages where you can actually hear the birds chirp instead of a diesel engine idling. Britain is full of these little pockets of sanity. You just have to be willing to drive down a road so narrow it'll take your wing mirrors off. Which one are you heading to first? Let me know in the comments, unless you want to keep it a secret, in which case I totally get it. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the pub.